Listen closely, dear listeners, for what I'm about to whisper is not bound to the quiet pages of forgotten myths. It is a tale that still trembles beneath the northern skies, where the winds carry the voices of gods, and the sea hides monsters older than memory itself. In the shadowed halls of Asgard, the one-eyed wanderer Woden paces in silence, clutching secrets torn from the roots of the world tree. Above him, ravens circle like living omens. Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, searching, watching, whispering. Not far behind, the ground trembles. It is the echo of Thor's unyielding stride, his hammer Mjolnir glowing with thunder trapped inside its iron heart. He senses a storm coming, but not the kind he commands. And in the dark corners where truth twists itself into lies, Loki smiles, a smile too sharp, too knowing. He shifts through shapes, beast, man, shadow, and every form carries a different sin. He knows what stirs beneath the waves. He knows what the gods have forgotten to fear. For even the Valkyries, the pale riders who glide over battlefields choosing the fates of men, have paused in their endless flight. Their wings shiver with an ancient dread. Their eyes turn toward the sea, where something vast has awakened. From the blackest depths rises the Kraken, a titan of the abyss, its tentacles curling like the roots of a drowned world. It moves not with hunger, but with purpose, as though answering a call older than the gods themselves. Something is coming, something none of them are ready to face. And before this tale truly begins, I must ask you, where are you listening from? A mountain village? A quiet city room? Or somewhere closer to the sea, close enough to hear the Kraken's breath? If you wish to walk deeper into this world of shadows, gods, monsters, and doom, subscribe now. Because what follows next will change the way you look at mythology forever. Woden, the Allfather. There are nights, deep, starless nights, when the world seems to hold its breath. Nights when the wind refuses to move, when shadows gather in corners like conspirators, and a strange stillness crawls along the edges of the sky. On such nights, I have felt it, the presence of a watcher, not a man, not a beast, but something older, carved from prophecy and storm, wearing the shape of fate itself. For this is the tale of Woden, the Allfather, not the softened king spoken of in gentle stories, but the real Woden, the wanderer, the seeker, the architect of destiny. He is the ruler of Asgard, the citadel built above mortal reach, and the throne he sits upon is not gilded with comfort, but forged from the consequences of ancient choices. Woden is called the All-Father, god of wisdom, war, and magic. But such titles are small cages for something so vast. He is not merely a god who knows things. He is a god who devours knowledge, who hunts truth with the hunger of a starving wolf. He appears not as a radiant king bathed in light, but as a shadowed wanderer, wrapped in a gray cloak, a wide-brimmed hat hiding half his face. Mortals have met him at crossroads, unaware of the divinity cloaked in dust before them, and yet they felt it, an instinctive fear, a shiver up the spine, as though some part of them recognized the ancient weight behind that single burning eye. And yes, it is one eye that peers from beneath his hood, for Woden surrendered the other willingly, tearing it from his own skull to cast into the depths of Mimir's well. Long before the world settled into the patterns we know, Woden approached the well that held the truth of all things. He asked for a single drink, a taste of the deep knowledge swirling in its waters. Mimir, ancient and cold, demanded a sacrifice equal to the price of enlightenment. And so Odin reached into his own face and removed his eye. No tremor, no hesitation, no second thought. He dropped it into the well, where it still rests today, glowing faintly like a drowned star, staring upward with eternal vigilance. In exchange, Odin drank from the well, and the truth seared him, reshaped him, carved runes into the marrow of his mind. From that moment on, he saw far more with one eye than any mortal or god could see with two. But knowledge is a hunger that never sleeps. One sacrifice was not enough. And so, Odin climbed the vast trunk of Yggdrasil, the world tree whose roots pierce creation and whose branches cradle the sky. He hung himself there, suspended between life and death, for 9 days and 9 nights. The wind tore at his exposed flesh. The bark dug into his back. The world watched as a god chose to suffer. No food, no water, no mercy. He hung under his own oath, pierced by his own spear, offering his life to the void in exchange for something greater. When the final dawn arrived, Odin fell from the tree, not broken, not defeated, but transformed. The runes had revealed their secrets, and he emerged with the forbidden magic of fate and sorcery burning beneath his skin. He is never alone, though. His ravens, Hugin and Munin, thought and memory, take flight each morning across the 9 worlds. They return at dusk, perching upon his shoulders, whispering to him of everything they have seen. It is said that Odin, the most powerful of all gods, fears only one thing: that someday one or both will fail to come home, leaving him blind not in sight, but in understanding. At his feet pace Geri and Frige. Wolves lean with hunger and loyal only to their master, their eyes glowing with the wildness that always lingers at the edge of Odin's soul. And when he rides, it is upon Sleipnir, the 8-legged horse born of strange magic, who can traverse realms and outrun even death. These companions are not ornaments, but manifestations of Odin's own fractured nature. Thought, memory, hunger, instinct, fate. They orbit him like fragments of a shattered crown, reminding him of the burdens he carries and the cost of the path he walks. For Odin's greatest power has never been his spear, nor his magic, nor the throne he commands. His power is his vision, the ability to see not just what is, but what will be. He has seen Ragnarok. He has seen the sky crack open, the fires rise, the wolf swallow the sun. He has seen the end of Asgard, the fall of the gods, the drowning of the world beneath chaos. Most gods would break beneath such knowledge or deny it with desperate lies. But Odin does neither. Instead, he prepares, silently, relentlessly. He shapes battles. He whispers in the dreams of kings. He chooses who will rise and who will fall. Every war, every sacrifice, every hero's death becomes another piece on the board of his great and terrible game. Some call him wise. Others call him cruel. Both names belong to him. Odin understands that the price of survival is steep, and he is willing to pay it, even if that means sacrificing those who follow him. He is a being of contradictions, a god who longs for peace yet thrives in war, a father who loves his children yet uses them as pawns, a seeker of truth who often buries it beneath layers of manipulation. There is something profoundly human in his struggle, though it stretches across immortal years. It is the yearning to outrun destiny, to fight the ending written into the bones of the universe. Odin does not wait for fate to arrive. He hunts it. He chases prophecy through the 9 realms with the determination of a man running from his own shadow. And still, For all his cunning and foresight, the end he has seen remains unchanged. The wolf will come, the fire will rise, the world will end. Yet Odin does not surrender. He does not despair. He continues to gather warriors in Valhalla, to train them for the final battle, to fight against the inevitable, even as the clock ticks toward doom. His legacy is carved from blood and knowledge, knowledge that wounds, knowledge that costs, knowledge that shapes the world. He teaches that wisdom is not gentle, that truth is not soft, that enlightenment often demands the sacrifice of innocence. And yet he continues to seek it, to tear open the hidden corners of existence, to confront the darkness that others pretend not to see. Odin is the All-Father not because he rules, but because he endures. He endures the weight of prophecy, the loneliness of leadership, the torment of knowledge. He endures the silence between one heartbeat and the next, the silence in which destiny whispers its cruel secrets. And somewhere, even now, beneath the heavy sky and the deep quiet of the night, that single, unblinking eye watches. It watches the paths mortals walk, the choices they make, the futures they forge. It watches the winds shift, the shadows lengthen, the storms gather. It watches, always, for the first tremor of Ragnarok. For the story of Odin is not merely a tale of a god. It is a warning, spoken in silence, carved in blood, and carried by ravens across the endless dark. Chapter 2. Thor, God of Thunder. Thor, the son of Odin, walks the realms not as a gentle protector, but as the embodiment of thunder and unyielding strength. He is the red-bearded warrior whose presence presses upon the earth like a weight of inevitability. Mountains seem to bow beneath his stride, rivers recoil from his gaze, and the wind carries the memory of his passage long after it has vanished. He is not merely a god of power, but a sentinel whose fury is tempered by the duty to safeguard Midgard and the fragile worlds beneath his vigilance. Tales of his exploits speak of might, yet none convey the profound vigilance and purpose behind every strike of his hammer. Mjolnir, the hammer forged in the secret fires of dwarves, is no ordinary weapon. It is the extension of Thor's will, bound with the voice of storms and the roar of creation itself. When hurled into battle, it rends mountains and shatters the pride of giants. When returned to his hand, it carries the echo of every clash and every fracture, a whisper of lightning and power that commands respect and terror alike. Such a weapon is not wielded lightly. Its strength mirrors the unwavering determination to stand against the darkness that perpetually presses against the edges of the realms. The hammer is both guardian and judge, delivering swift justice to those who threaten the fragile balance of existence. The giants, known as the Jötnar, rise perpetually from the frost-bitten reaches of forgotten mountains and the icy wastes beyond mortal knowledge. Each encounter with them carries the tension of worlds at stake. On the cliffs of Utgard, where the wind howls with the voice of dying beasts, Thor's might has turned mocking kings to shattered stone and splintered bones. Yet his battles are never mere displays of rage. They are deliberate acts, calculated and precise, designed to protect the realms from the creeping chaos of beings whose existence predates mortal reckoning. Among the most fearsome of Thor's adversaries is Jörmungandr, the colossal world serpent whose immense body encircles the seas, binding the waters with a silent threat. The serpent, a creature older than time itself, lies beneath the waves, stirring only when the balance of the worlds teeters. The tales recount the day Thor cast his line, baited with a sacrificial ox, and faced the monstrous serpent in a battle that shook the ocean and sky alike. The waters erupted in fury, waves clawing at the horizon, and lightning fractured the heavens as the two forces met. Though fate intervened and the line broke, the serpent remains, coiled and waiting for the destined day when the clash will resume in cataclysmic battle beneath the fractured sky of Ragnarok. Thor is not solely a warrior of destruction. His power is equally that of protection. Storms obey his will, lightning answers his call, and the forces of nature themselves align to his vigilance. Farmers who pray for rain, warriors who seek courage, children who tremble beneath winter winds, each finds unseen protection in his presence. The thunder that rolls across the mountains and valleys is not merely noise, it is a warning, a signal that the storm watches, that the guardian is awake. Every clap of lightning, every flash across the blackened sky, is a message to the world. The darkness may gather, but it will not pass unchallenged. The mythology surrounding Thor also emphasizes his appearance and symbols of power. Broad-shouldered and mountain-built, eyes glowing with the energy of the heavens, he is a figure carved from raw elements. His red beard burns like embers in twilight storms, a mark of his fiery vitality. The belt of strength, Megingjord, amplifies the power coursing through him, while iron gloves grip Mjolnir with unbreakable force. Each detail serves to remind mortals and gods alike that his presence is absolute, unyielding, and terrifyingly immediate. The sight of Thor alone suffices to command obedience from the storm and reverence or fear from those who witness it. Thor's personality in myths is as layered as his strength. Courageous and loyal, he embodies a straightforward resolve that contrasts sharply with the cunning of Loki or the distant wisdom of Odin. Yet beneath the simplicity of his nature lies a complex sense of duty, an understanding that power without purpose is meaningless. His wrath is channeled, never reckless. It is an instrument of order rather than chaos. Each battle, whether against frost giants, serpents, or other monstrous beings, is undertaken with careful attention to the consequences for the realms he protects. There is no arrogance in his fury, only the certainty that responsibility demands decisive action. Symbolically, Thor represents more than physical might. He embodies justice, courage, and the enduring protection of the vulnerable. He is the personification of the storm's dual nature, destructive yet necessary, terrifying yet essential. Where shadows linger and threats multiply, Thor's presence ensures the survival of worlds too fragile to endure on their own. His hammer, lightning, and immense strength serve as metaphors for the relentless force required to maintain balance in a universe prone to chaos. The myths emphasize that Thor's battles are unending. Each day brings the potential for confrontation, whether with beings of frost and stone, or the lurking menace beneath the waves. Even the gods themselves recognize the necessity of his vigilance, for without the thunder and might of Thor, the realms would crumble under the ceaseless pressure of ancient, relentless forces. In this light, Thor is not merely a god of war, but the embodiment of enduring guardianship. His vigilance is perpetual, his power inexhaustible, his presence both a comfort and a terror. Ultimately, Thor's significance lies in the duality of his nature. He is both destroyer and protector, fury and guardian, mortal fear made divine. The stories that survive, carried across generations, capture only glimpses of this truth. The clash of Mjolnir against giants, the rolling storm across mountains and sea, the unyielding defiance against fate itself. Yet, beneath all these tales, the essence of Thor persists, unyielding, vigilant, and forever entwined with the storms that define both Midgard and the realms beyond. The thunder that rolls across distant mountains is not mere noise. It is a proclamation, a reminder of the ceaseless vigilance of the god who commands the storm. It is a warning to giants, serpents, and all who dwell in the shadows that no darkness may rise unchallenged. Even as the world moves toward the inevitable twilight of Ragnarok, Thor's hammer remains poised, his strength undiminished, his watch unbroken. The storms themselves bear witness to his presence, speaking of a god whose wrath is tempered by duty and whose courage is boundless. Thus, Thor remains an eternal figure in the Gothic imagination, a god whose strength embodies protection as much as destruction, whose fury is guided by purpose, and whose presence ensures that the fragile threads of existence continue to endure against the relentless tide of chaos. His hammer, Mjolnir, his hammering heart of thunder, and the rolling storms are reminders that power, when tempered by duty, becomes a shield for the world, and a voice that echoes across the heavens and earth alike. Even now, as clouds darken and lightning fractures the sky, Thor's vigilance persists. The myths live in whispers of thunder, the trembling of the earth, the shivering of mortal hearts beneath storm-lit skies. And while the world serpent coils beneath the waves and frost giants linger in distant peaks, the realms endure. For as long as the hammer exists, as long as the storm obeys, Thor stands, not in arrogance, but in unwavering guardianship, an eternal testament to the power, justice, and enduring vigilance that defines the god of thunder. Chapter 3. Loki, the Trickster. Loki, the Trickster, exists in a realm between chaos and order, neither wholly divine nor entirely mortal, yet older than many can comprehend. Born of both giants and gods, his essence is fluid, shifting, unpredictable. No two encounters with him are ever alike. One moment he appears fair and charming, the next twisted and monstrous. His eyes gleam with dangerous knowledge. His lips curve with secrets too sharp to speak aloud. Myths remember him for mischief, for betrayals that ripple through Asgard and the worlds beyond. Yet every prank and scheme carries consequences far greater than simple amusement. Loki is not merely a god of trickery. He is a force that tests the fragile balance of existence itself. Transformation lies at the heart of Loki's nature. He can take the form of animals, humans, even shadows, bending the world to his will with subtlety and precision. Legends tell of Loki assuming the shape of a mare to lure a powerful stallion, giving birth to Sleipnir, the eight-legged horse that carries Odin across the 9 realms. Another tale recounts Loki as a salmon, slipping through nets and evading capture by his cleverness alone. Every act of transformation reveals his mind's boundless reach, a labyrinth of cunning in which gods and mortals alike often become lost. His power is not measured merely by the forms he takes, but by the effects he leaves behind, echoes of chaos that shape the destinies of all who cross his path. Loki's influence extends far beyond physical transformation. His cunning is a weapon, subtle and relentless. Words twist like smoke from his lips, seeping into the thoughts and hearts of gods and mortals alike. He manipulates, persuades, deceives, and provokes, Nothing is accidental in his designs. Mortals are pawns, the gods themselves can be ensnared, and even the fates of entire realms may tremble under the weight of his schemes. Loki gives treasures to the gods, only to extract a higher toll through deception. Every trick, every lie, every manipulation is woven into the intricate tapestry of destiny, a reflection of the truth that chaos and order are forever intertwined. Some of the most famous stories surrounding Loki illustrate the duality of his power. When Sif, goddess of the harvest, awoke to find her golden hair cut away, Loki had caused the mischief for his own amusement. Yet that act, seemingly trivial, triggered the forging of the gods' greatest treasures: Mjolnir, Gungnir, and other artifacts of immense power created by dwarves who feared Loki's ingenuity. Through his schemes, creation and destruction are inseparably linked, a paradox of mischief that produces both wonder and terror. Loki's tricks teach that even the smallest acts of deception can reverberate through time, altering the fate of gods and men alike. Loki's darker role is most evident in the events leading to Ragnarok. Chained for his crimes against gods and mortals, he does not remain subdued. When the destined hour arrives, he will break free, bringing forth chaos on a scale that even the gods dread. He leads the forces that rise against Asgard, the armies of chaos that surge from the shadows, and confronts Heimdall, the vigilant guardian, in the final battle. Prophecies speak of blood and fire, of ruin and destruction, all orchestrated by the cunning and unpredictable hand of Loki. He embodies the inevitability of change, a reminder that no plan, no order, no chain can fully contain him. From Loki also come monstrous creations that haunt the realms. Jormungandr, the world serpent, coils beneath the seas, a silent and ever-present threat. Fenrir, the colossal wolf, waits bound by unbreakable chains, destined to rise when the final battle begins. Hel, queen of the underworld, rules over the dead with shadowed authority. Each being reflects the essence of Loki, uncontrollable, unpredictable, and entwined with both mischief and destiny. These creations are not merely physical, they are symbols of the consequences of unchecked cunning. The echoes of chaos manifest in terrifying forms. Loki's personality is as multifaceted as his powers. He delights in the absurd, the impossible, and the uncanny, forcing gods and mortals alike to confront the fragility of their assumptions. Behind the laughter lies a mind sharp enough to anticipate outcomes that no one else can foresee, a will unbroken by punishment or confinement. Loki embodies the tension between cunning and cruelty, between amusement and consequence, demonstrating that the most dangerous force is not brute strength, but the subtle manipulation of reality itself. Symbolically, Loki represents chaos, change, and unpredictability. He is the shadow that tests every certainty, the force that ensures vigilance remains necessary. His actions teach that mischief and transformation are not inherently evil. They are forces that provoke growth, reveal hidden truths, and challenge stagnation. Yet they are perilous, often accompanied by suffering and catastrophe. To underestimate him is to invite disaster, for the trickster operates in ways that are unseen, unpredictable, and deeply consequential. Even in chains, Loki's influence spreads across the 9 realms. His presence is felt in moments of coincidence, in sudden disasters, in subtle manipulations that alter the course of events. The myths warn that chaos is never fully absent, that even the most carefully laid plans are vulnerable to his ingenuity. Loki embodies the delicate balance between order and disorder, teaching that the world exists not in permanence, but in constant flux, forever teetering on the edge of unpredictability. The trickster is inseparable from the fate of gods and mortals. Every action, every prank, every deception resonates far beyond its immediate consequences. Through him, the threads of destiny twist and tangle, revealing the fragility of both human and divine designs. Loki's presence is a reminder that no being, no law, no oath is immune to the force of cleverness and cunning. The uncertainty he brings forces vigilance, humility, and respect for the unseen and the unexpected. Ultimately, Loki embodies the Gothic fascination with duality and ambiguity. He is part light, part shadow, part creator, part destroyer, part amusement, part terror. His existence reminds all who hear his stories that chaos is eternal, that unpredictability is inevitable, and that behind every law, every certainty, every careful design, the trickster waits. The world itself quivers under his influence, yet through his cunning, it is also taught to endure, to adapt, and to recognize the value and danger of change. The stories of Loki endure because they caution, entertain, and provoke reflection. They reveal that mischief is never harmless, that cunning carries consequence, and that even gods must reckon with forces beyond their control. In every whisper of wind, every sudden mishap, every shadow moving at the edge of perception, the presence of Loki is felt. He is the architect of unpredictability, the herald of chaos, the unseen hand that shapes the destinies of mortals and immortals alike. Through him, the Gothic world is reminded that darkness can be clever, chaos can be beautiful, and even the strongest walls may crumble when the trickster decides. Loki is a being whose existence challenges understanding. He is neither wholly villain nor wholly hero, neither fully destructive nor entirely constructive. He is the paradox that haunts every myth, the unseen influence behind every consequence, the embodiment of chaos made manifest. And as the stories persist through time, they serve as a reminder that the balance of the worlds is never secure, that fate itself can be twisted, and that in every shadow, the trickster waits, smiling, ready to bend reality to his design. Chapter 4: The Valkyries, Choosers of the Slain. The Valkyries are the spectral figures of war, warrior maidens who traverse the skies with wings of shadow and light, moving between the realms of the living and the dead. Servants of Odin, their purpose is singular and solemn, to choose who shall die in battle and who shall be granted a place in Valhalla. Yet their presence is not merely functional, it is terrifyingly majestic, a reminder that life and death are intertwined with fate itself. Across bloodied fields and shattered landscapes, they ride upon ethereal horses, their armor gleaming with a light that is both holy and chilling. To behold a Valkyrie is to understand that the god's gaze is inescapable, that destiny is a weight heavier than any mortal can bear. They are more than messengers, they are arbiters of honor. Warriors who fall bravely under their eyes are spared the oblivion of the grave, carried to Valhalla where feasts await, mead flows like rivers, and endless battles are fought anew in preparation for Ragnarok. Those deemed cowardly, unworthy, or foolish remain in the dust, swallowed by the shadows that cloak the battlefield. The Valkyries' choices are final, absolute, and often incomprehensible to those who seek justice in human terms. Mortal notions of fairness do not bind them, for they operate under the immutable law of fate, guided by the unseen hand of the All-Father. Their forms are both awe-inspiring and dreadful, tall, unyielding, clad in armor that gleams like a distant star. They carry spears tipped with the power to pierce both body and spirit. Their eyes are bright with purpose and eternal knowledge, seeing beyond the veil of life into the threads of destiny. Long hair streams behind them in the wind like banners of mourning and triumph alike, and their presence carries a cold majesty that chills the blood even as it stirs courage. When the Valkyries descend upon a battlefield, the sound of hooves and wings is like thunder, a reminder that the gods themselves judge mortal deeds. The Valkyries are not without individuality. Tales speak of Brynhild, the most famous among them, whose story intertwines love, betrayal, and the inexorable law of destiny. Sigrun is remembered for visions that guided heroes to glory or doom. Each Valkyrie is a force of nature, bound by duty yet capable of profound influence, capable of choosing a hero for greatness or dooming one to eternal obscurity. Their appearances in mortal affairs are rare but unforgettable, leaving behind whispers, omens, and dreams that haunt both warriors and kings. To see them is to glimpse the inevitability of death and the honor of destiny intertwined. In Valhalla, the Valkyries serve the fallen with reverence and precision. They pour mead for warriors who have fought bravely, tend to wounds both spiritual and physical, and prepare the chosen for battles yet to come. Their presence maintains the rhythm of preparation for Ragnarok, ensuring that the mightiest warriors of Midgard will stand ready when the final conflict arrives. Even in these sacred halls, their forms are a mixture of light and shadow, beauty and terror, an eternal reminder that honor is never given lightly and death is never far behind. On the battlefield, the Valkyries are both visible and unseen. Some legends describe their fiery hair and shining armor slicing through clouds above the warriors' heads, their spears raised in silent judgment. Others whisper that they appear only in glimpses, in the corner of the eye, in the flutter of a shadow or the sudden chill of the wind. They are not constrained by the ordinary rules of reality, for their purpose transcends mortal comprehension. They ride over mountains, across rivers, and through forests, their passage leaving a faint shimmer of divine light, marking the chosen with fate's indelible touch. The Valkyries' symbolism is complex and layered. They embody fate, honor, and the inexorable nature of death. They are the arbiters of courage, testing the mettle of warriors with the impartiality of gods. Yet they are not devoid of emotion. Tales suggest that some Valkyries have loved mortals, intervened subtly in matters of war, and experienced grief for those whose valor went unrecognized. Even so, their duty remains paramount, a reminder that in the Gothic world of gods and men, personal feelings are secondary to the vast machinery of destiny. Their presence reinforces the Gothic understanding of mortality. Death is not random. It is an order of divine design, orchestrated by figures both beautiful and terrifying. To witness a Valkyrie is to understand that every choice, every act of bravery, every slip of cowardice is recorded and judged by forces beyond comprehension. Mortals may fight, may hope, may pray, but the Valkyries move through battle with certainty and purpose, untouched by fear, bound by duty, and in possession of knowledge beyond mortal ken. Even the gods defer to the Valkyries' judgment. Odin relies upon them to maintain the order of life and death, to prepare the greatest warriors for the final days when the heavens themselves will shatter. Their decisions ripple through time, shaping the outcomes of battles, the rise of heroes, and the survival of realms. No mortal or god can sway them, and yet they operate with a grace and elegance that inspires awe. Their movement across the realms is a dance of inevitability, a Gothic ballet in which fate itself is choreographed. Legends also speak of the Valkyries' mysterious origins and abilities. Some tales suggest they were formed from the very breath of Woden, beings of divine will sent to execute judgment upon mortals. Others whisper that they predate even the gods themselves, remnants of a purer, older order of warrior spirits. Whatever their origin, their role is immutable: to guide, to judge, to carry the worthy to Valhalla, and to ensure that the threads of fate are woven in accordance with the design of the cosmos. In art and literature, Valkyries are often depicted riding through stormy skies, their long hair and banners flowing like fire against the darkness. Their horses are swift and ethereal, capable of traversing mortal and divine realms alike. The sight of one descending upon the battlefield inspires both terror and hope. Terror for the unworthy, hope for those brave enough to earn their gaze. They are the Gothic embodiment of the intersection between life and death, courage and doom, mortal endeavor and divine scrutiny. Ultimately, the Valkyries are the eternal reminder that in the cosmos of Norse mythology, no act of bravery goes unnoticed, and no death is meaningless. They operate beyond morality, beyond mercy, beyond fear. To fall under their gaze is to meet destiny itself, to touch the threads that bind life and death, and to step closer to immortality through courage and honor. Their presence is both haunting and inspiring, a Gothic vision of order within chaos, beauty within terror, and judgment within the roar of war. In every story, every myth, every whisper of wind across a battlefield, the Valkyries endure. They ride through time and space, carrying the souls of the fallen, preparing the chosen for the inevitable clashes of gods and monsters yet to come. They are eternal, untouchable, and awe-inspiring, the Gothic arbiters of mortality, the choosers of the slain, and the guardians of honor whose shadows stretch over the battlefield long after the warriors themselves have fallen. Chapter 5. The Kraken, Terror of the Deep. The Kraken, monstrous and unknowable, dwells in the abyssal darkness of the northern seas, a creature older than memory, older than the first ships that dared the waters off Norway. It is not a mere beast. It is the embodiment of the ocean's wrath, the shadow beneath the waves that turns sailors' dreams into nightmares. Legends describe it as a giant squid or octopus, tentacles stretching beyond imagination, capable of dragging entire ships into the cold, black maw of the deep. The Kraken is not simply a threat. It is a Gothic warning, a symbol of the vast, unfathomable power that lies beneath the placid surface of the world. To encounter the Kraken is to confront the sublime terror of nature unbound. The sea itself obeys no law when this creature rises. Whirlpools twist and churn. Waves crash higher than mountains, and the horizon disappears into chaos. Mortals speak of islands that appear and vanish, of shadows so massive that they blot out the sun, of silence so deep that the heart falters in its chest. Every story carries the pulse of fear and awe, for the Kraken embodies the unknown, the forces that lie beyond comprehension and beyond control. The myths of the Kraken are intertwined with the lives of sailors and the lore of the northern seas. Mariners tell of colossal tentacles wrapping around hulls, dragging ships down into darkness. Others recount seeing its eye, immense and unblinking, reflecting the endless void beneath the waves. Early maps of the oceans often marked its domain with warnings. Here be monsters, here be the end. And indeed, those who ventured too far without respect or caution sometimes vanished entirely, leaving behind only the echoes of their screams carried by the wind and the waves. The Kraken's legend is not simply a tale of fear. It is a testament to the power and mystery of the sea itself. Appearance alone is sufficient to inspire terror. The tentacles rise like living mountains, curling and coiling with a force that defies human strength. Its body is vast, a shadow beneath the water that can swallow light and hope alike. Eyes, enormous and reflective, gleam with intelligence, an unsettling awareness of intruders in its domain. Its movements are deliberate yet fluid, a dance of death that hints at the ancient cunning of the ocean. In some accounts, the Kraken's surfacing churns the sea into storms, turning calm waters into a battlefield where no ship may survive. Behavior attributed to the Kraken is as terrifying as its form. It creates whirlpools, swallowing ships whole, or capsizes them with a single, deliberate strike. The creature's patience is endless, its timing perfect. Sailors whisper of nights when the waters remain unnervingly calm, only for the Kraken to strike at the precise moment when human confidence peaks. It is both predator and judge, enforcer of the sea's inscrutable law. The Kraken is not random in its terror. It is deliberate, an ancient consciousness testing mortals' courage and respect for forces far beyond their understanding. Stories of the Kraken are interwoven with Gothic motifs of the unknown. Mortals stand at the edge of comprehension, peering into the abyss, knowing instinctively that some truths are forbidden. The Kraken embodies the terror of that which cannot be fully known or conquered. Its presence reminds men that the sea is vast, indifferent, and eternal, a realm where human hubris meets its limits. The creature is a Gothic sentinel, guarding the mysteries of the ocean, ensuring that those who challenge its domain understand the price of folly. Sailors' tales add layers of horror and wonder. Some report floating islands that were, in truth, the backs of the Kraken, moving slowly through the ocean, only to submerge without warning. Others describe nights when the stars themselves seemed to dim as the creature rose, casting a shadow that swallowed the horizon. Whispers in coastal villages speak of entire fleets lost to the Kraken's hunger, of the distant cries of sailors dragged beneath the waves, voices carried to the shore by winds scented with salt and fear. Every account serves as a reminder. The Kraken is not merely a story, but a Gothic embodiment of nature's power and the limits of mortal courage. The Kraken also functions symbolically within mythology. It represents the untamed power of the sea, the fear of the unknown, and the danger inherent in venturing beyond safe bounds. It embodies humanity's fascination with and terror of the deep, the subconscious dread that lurks in uncharted realms. The creature's immense strength, patience, and cunning reflect the qualities of a world indifferent to human suffering and ambition. In its legend, the sea is not merely water. It is a sentient force, a Gothic stage where courage and folly meet inevitable consequence. Legends also suggest that the Kraken has ancient intelligence. It is not a mindless beast, but a guardian of secrets too dangerous for mortals to uncover. The sudden rise of its tentacles, the creation of whirlpools, and the dragging of ships to the abyss are acts of deliberate purpose, responses to intrusion or hubris. The Kraken judges the courage and respect of those who sail the northern waters. Those who honor the power of the sea may survive, scarred and humbled. Those who defy it vanish, becoming part of the endless Gothic tapestry of oceanic mystery. Its legacy endures not only in tales, but in maps, paintings, and legends passed from one generation to the next. Cartographers marked its domain with warnings, poets described the terror of its appearance, and fishermen whispered of encounters with wide-eyed horror. Each story reinforces the notion that some powers, like the sea and the Kraken, cannot be controlled or contained. The creature's existence bridges the boundary between the natural and the supernatural, grounding the Gothic imagination in awe, dread, and the sublime. Ultimately, the Kraken is more than a monster. It is a manifestation of nature's raw, ancient power. It reminds mortals that courage is tested not only against enemies of flesh and blood, but against the forces that shape the world itself. The creature's shadow stretches across the waters, over sailors' hearts, and into the collective consciousness, a Gothic symbol of what lies beneath, unknown, relentless, and eternal. Its stories endure because they evoke terror and wonder, because they remind listeners of the vastness of the world, the fragility of life, and the eternal presence of forces beyond comprehension. Even today, in the calm of northern seas, one can imagine the Kraken lying in wait. Its tentacles curl in the darkness, its massive body shifts in silent currents, and the water above it swirls with anticipation. Every ripple hints at movement unseen. Every shadow speaks of lurking danger. The Kraken is eternal, timeless, and inexhaustible, a Gothic sentinel of the deep, whose presence ensures that humans never forget their smallness in the face of the ocean's immensity. Thus, the Kraken concludes the pantheon of Northern European myths with a terror that is both physical and symbolic. Unlike the gods of Asgard, it is indifferent to morality or order. Its existence is proof that the universe contains forces beyond comprehension, forces that demand respect, fear, and reverence. Sailors and storytellers alike have carried its legend across centuries, ensuring that every Gothic imagination remembers the weight of the deep, the danger of pride, and the inexhaustible mystery of the ocean. And now, having traversed the domains of Woden, Thor, Loki, the Valkyries, and the Kraken, the tales linger in shadow and storm. Which of these figures, the wisdom and sacrifice of Woden, the relentless might of Thor, the cunning chaos of Loki, the judgment and majesty of the Valkyries, or the unfathomable terror of the Kraken, holds the deepest sway over the Gothic imagination? Which of these legends strikes the heart with awe, fear, and fascination the most?